This is going to be our third session in Python for undergraduates, and in this I'm going to discuss about sequences and sets. Right, so it's our third session. We're going to cover topics: lists, tuples, dictionaries, and sets. Lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. So first, what are Python lists are actually like just normally what are lists? In normal terms, what are lists? What is a list? Can you guys answer what is a list in the normal terms?
The best we know is the Russian list.
What?
The best what we know is the list of Russian items which is asked to buy.
Yeah, so it's just a collection of items, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost the same in Python. List is a collection of data that can be the collection of data. The data type can be either strings, integers, floats, bools, or even other lists and other type of data like tuples and sets. So lists can contain any type of data inside them. And when we are defining lists, we have to use the square brackets. So we have to use square brackets when we are defining lists. So as you can see over here, I took some examples. Like I have defined a list L1 with the square brackets. As I told you, when we are defining lists, we have to use the square brackets. And the first list I'm using only integers. So it contains 0, 1, 2, and 3, which are all integer typed. And then the second list, I'm having strings because 0. I'm using the single quotes, right? That tells us that it is string. In the third one, I have a mixed type of data. So strings, in lists, I can contain different type of data in a single list. As you can see here, first two are integers. The second one is a list inside the list. The third one is a string, and the fourth one is again a list. And the L4 is an empty list. So we can also define an empty list. That means it doesn't contain any values. So let's just start defining some lists over here. I'll say my list is equal to, and when I'm defining a list, we have to use square brackets. So we'll just start by using a list integer type list. Okay, 0, 1, 3, 4. So I hope you guys remember yesterday's class. Strings have indexes, right? The same way, even lists have indexes, and by indexes they start with 0 as the first element, and the index follows like this in this order only. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. This list represents its index also. So for suppose I say print my list. If you want to access the data inside that list, we have to use these square brackets. So my list and then square brackets, I have to give the index. The index value I want to search for index value 3. So what will be the output for me? Which element is there in the index value 3?
3.
3. Yeah, in the index value 3, I have 3 right now. Let's just check. Yeah, here we got the output as 3. Okay, I'll just do some changes in the list. Now let's take a string list. So I'll say
how did you run this? How did you execute this? Can you just tell me,
running,
because this is my first.
Okay, yeah. For running, just do right click and say run Python in terminal. Run Python in terminal will run the program over here in the terminal.
Okay, I can't get all that. When I right click, I just see a few options: copy, paste, change all occurrence, and command palette.
First, just save your file as a Python file, then you will get it. Control S. Control S will do, or else you can save it from here. File, save.
Yeah.
Save it as a Python file. To save it as a Python file, you have to have the extension .py.
Okay.
Okay, I hope you can
Okay.
see those options right now.
Yes, so I can get that options. Now I have to say run current test file
No, run
or
Python file in terminal.
Okay.
Run Python file in terminal.
Okay, okay. Got the answer. Thank you.
Yeah. So now I'll just take a string, a list containing strings. So let's say this is a list. Okay, so I have a string, I have a list saying first element is this, second element is, third element is a, fourth element is list. So when I have the index value 3, what will be the output right now? For this
List.
for the same program, what will be the output?
It will display
I.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Any more guesses? Okay, then I'll check it.
List, I guess.
It will display list, because now it's not considering a string over here. It's considering a list. So for list, what happens is, so if it's like this is the 0 index. This is index number 1, index number 2, index number 3. So this is how the index numbers will be there.
There is some problem for.
So this is how the indexing will be done over here. Okay, see, now I got my answer as a list, right? Now in list, I just want to print this S.
Mm-hmm. So you have to use yesterday's function of str or something was there, right?
No. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hear you.
Yeah, you're able to hear me, right?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Just save this as a Python file first. This. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll just define this L. And inside this, I have this, yeah. Okay. So what was our question? I want to print. I want to print this S over here. I want to print only S from list. What should I do? Okay, then I'll tell it. Oh, from list 1, from list, I want to access this, the element number 3, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. So I want to access element number 3. and then inside element number 3, I want to access the third one, that is 0, 1, 2. So I have to keep 2 over here. Let's see what will happen now. See, now I only got the output as is. You can see it over here, right? So this is accessing of lists. So if whenever we define a list, when you want to access elements, when they're stored in this type of when they're stored in lists, you can do indexing inside list, and again whatever elements you have chosen over here, if there are strings, lists, tuples, or any of those. But you can't do the same with integers or floats because they do not have any indexes. They're just numbers. They don't have any indexes. So this is only possible for strings, lists, tuples, tuple values. So for example, I just add a integer value over here, say 55, and now I'll try. I'll say this index value is 4, right? Now I want to print only 1, 5. Can I do that? This should be, say, 1. Will the same thing work? No, it will give an error because it say int is not a subscript. Means it doesn't have any index values. Integer doesn't have any integer. So that is the error we got over here. So as you can see, here I have defined a list by using square brackets. Now there's another way to define lists. For say example, I'll take another list L1. L1 is equal to, there's a function as list, and I can convert a string into a list. If I say now I'll print L1. Now let's see what happens. When I convert this into a list, each character will become an element. Right? See, I gave Python as a whole word, and when I use the list function, it will convert each character into a list, into a separate element in the list. Okay. So as I told you in the previous slides, which type of data can a list carry? It can carry integers, floats, strings, and it can carry lists also inside it. So I'll say this type of lists are known as nested lists. Nested lists are those which have lists inside of lists. So I'll say nested list. And also I want to tell you one thing. Whenever you're using variables, when you define the name, they should not contain any space. Instead of space, you can use underscore. Okay. So here I'm going to use, let's say I'll define one more list as 1, 2, 3. And then I'll have a list as 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Then I'll have that list. Let's say that that has strings. Say 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so here inside the main list, I have again three different lists. So let's see if it will give any error for us. This does not give any error for us. That means this list is being accepted by Python. So now if I print this list, see over here I got the nested list, right? So it's not giving any error. That means it accepts lists inside of list. Okay. So now we got how to define lists. Next, yeah, we have access list also, right? By using indexing, we have access lists. So lists are known as mutable. Mutable means the elements inside the list can be changed, right? For say example, over here, in nested list. I'm gonna take the elements in nested list, and I want to change an element over here. See, I want to say I want to change 1 into 0 over here. Then what can I do? Or else we'll do one thing. We'll use this list first. We'll start with a normal list, then we'll go to nested lists. So in list, I want to change the value of 55 to 100. Okay. So for doing that, I have to say this. I have to give the index value. What is the index value for 55? It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So index value is 4. I will give is equal to 100. So what are we doing over here? The element in the fourth index value of list L is gonna be equal to 100. So what is the fourth element over here? 55.
55.
Index value 4 is 55. So we're gonna replace that with 100. So now if I print L, I'll just take out this. I'll print. I'll say one thing. This is before changing it. And then we'll print after changing it. This is after changing it. We don't need this right now. I'll just delete this. Okay. Yeah. So before changing it, it has 55 over here. After changing it, we got 100. So what have we done? We have accessed to the element number 4 with the index number 4, and then we have changed. We have given the value of element number 4 as 100. That's why we changed it. Now let me just say I want to change A over here into a different type, like it's in a string type right over here. I want to change it to a float. I want to change it to a float. Say, so what is the index value of A over here? What is the index value of sorry, A? It is 0, 1, 2.
2.
Yeah, 2. Good. 2. I want to change it to some float. So I'll say 3.5. Will this be working because this is a string and this is a float, right? Can it change? Let's see.
Will work.
Yeah, it worked because as I told, list can contain any type of data and float is accepted in list, right? It is a separate data. Each element is separate data in a list. So yeah. Next we have another. Say we want to change this whole thing, and I want to just make it as a simple sentence. Like this is a list. Instead of having these many elements, I just want it in one sentence. So I have to change 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. Can we do all the 4 elements at one time? Yeah, we can certainly do it. This is just as we did yesterday. This is like slicing. So from if I just keep a colon without anything in front of it, that means it's gonna start from the starting. Okay, so from 0 index to the 4th index. When I say to the 4th index, 4 will not be counted because here the 4th index is 55, right? It won't be counted right now. So I want to change this to a whole to a single sentence. This is a list. Now let's see. Okay, now what happened? It's taking everything like separate values. So what can we do? Let's try string. Let's try something like this. No, same thing. So what can we do? Okay, we'll think about this afterwards. Let's see. We can do one thing. We can remove all of this.
You have to do it one by one.
we can remove all these elements. So for removing all these elements, we have we can do it in two ways. The first way is just keeping empty list like this. That means it's saying it doesn't have anything. Okay, we'll just see what happened right now. So it doesn't have anything. All these values are taken out. Okay, and then we can add a value to the first index. To add a value, there are certain ways to add. The first way is appending. Adding, in other words, is known as appending. Okay, so whenever you want to append something to a list, you can say l dot append. Append, and you have to give the value of what you want to append. So I want to say this is a yeah. So this got appended as whole as a single list. Okay. Right. Let's just see what all operations we have. Yeah. Over here we completed with append. Append means we are just adding an object to the list. So over here I have added the object to a list. So now, is there any way that I have to append to the first index, right? I want to append it to the first index. Can I do that? Is there any way? So to check, as I told you, we always have a way to check different methods in Python, right? So just open the IDE. If you want to open the IDE over here, just type Python. It will open the IDE in terminal. Yeah, you can see the IDE over here, right? So here I'll just take this list. I define the list over here, and then I can say dir list. This will give me all the methods which I wanted over here. Yeah. So for adding it to a certain index value, we can use insert. If instead of append, what append will do is it will just add it to the last index value. As you can see, when I got this output, see, it got added to the last index value, right? But I want it to be added in the before the first index value. So there I have to specify the index value. To specify the index value, instead of append, I'm going to use insert. Insert 0. The first index value is 0, right? Oh, sorry. This is reverse, I guess. Yeah. If now it got inserted in the first index value, then we got it over here. So this is a way where to use insert. We can select the index value where you want to insert it. It's append. It defaultly goes to the last index value. So you cannot change the index value when you're using append. Okay. So what else do we have? Yeah. Now I told that there's many ways to deal. Yeah. Samram?
Just something real quick. I typed the dir in the bracket my list, then press enter in the terminal below. But I'm getting an error saying that file stdin line 1 not found, something like that. But I've defined my list.
Define it over here, or you define it inside the terminal?
No, inside the program, my list is equal to this is a list I've defined.
Yeah, when you're opening ideally, it will be opened as new shell. It won't have anything. You have to define it again over here, as it did.
Oh, so it's okay. Got it.
You have to define it again over here.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So over here, now I want, let's try removing object. So the first way you already saw, we can just set the list and we can say give index value over here. We can do it like this. This will just remove it. And there's another way also. We have methods to remove the element. So let's say, yeah. Now we'll use this nested list over there. I want to remove this one. I want to remove this one, whatever element is there over here. So first, nested list dot. So there are two ways. One is pop. The second one is remove. So first, I'll just show you what pop, and then what is the index value of this list? What is the index value of this list? This list is 0.
3.
This list is 1.
2.
This list is 2. Yeah, 2. Correct. So now if I say nested list pop 2, I had to print it. Wait. Yeah, pop will delete this over here, and you can use remove also. Zoom will also do the same thing. Remove. Okay, it already got removed. Okay, so the difference between pop and remove is remove will take the element, it not take index value. See, as it tells over here, X is not in the list. So in the list, what do we have? We have this list over here. So now I'll try the same thing. I take. See, now it got deleted. So the difference between pop and remove is pop will remove by using index values. Remove will by using the element. So I'll just write over it. Remove by using element. If I say pop, it will follow the index value. So over here, I'll say index. Okay. So let me just do one thing. I'll save this as another list. I'll say L1 is equal to. And then here I can say L1. L1. Now if I say L1, the value over here will be the list. This out. We don't want to remove that value, right? So I'm just taking it out. As you can see here, I kept L1 over here. So whatever the value stored in L1 will be placed over here as a list. Okay. So the list follows variables also. If I have a variable as x is equal to some, and then I place it over here, right? See, I got the variable list. So x support list supports variables also. Yeah. Let's see what else we have. We have count extend, yeah, we'll go with count now. So just add element over here saying this. Okay, I just added an element saying list over here. Okay, um, now I'll say whenever I use hash over here, it won't be counted in the program. Okay, it's just commented. Okay, yeah. So we want to use a count function right now, right? So I'll say print the number of times list appeared nested. So what count will do? It's the same as string. What did it do in string? Just counts the number of times the element is repeated, right? So the same thing happens over here. So if I just say nested l dot count, so I'll count x. I'll count for x. So the number of times this has been appeared is 2 times. Why is it 2 times? Here I gave 1 time x and 1 time list. The value inside x is list itself, right? So if you see the list over here, the value list is appearing 2 times. That's why we got the answer as 2. So count just counts the number of times object is repeated.
No, come back again. Come back again. Why it came 2?
It came 2 because what is the value inside x? The value
List.
inside x is list, right? And then here I wrote
Right.
list. I gave x 1 time and then I gave list also. So if you can see the output over here, if you see the output over here inside the list, here
Okay,
list
got
is
it.
repeated twice, right? List is repeated twice.
Okay,
That's why
got
we
it.
got the output as 2.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's get to index. We'll see what index does. Index is same as doing this. If I in this list, when I said print we'll take L1 also. When I said this, what happened? This is my L1 list. This is my L1 list. What will happen if I say L1 print 2? What is there in the second index? 3 is there, right? So the value which will occur over here, it prints 3. If you use index is also the same thing, but it's in the form of methods. Okay. So if I say index and 3, okay. So what index does is it takes the element. It doesn't take the index value. It takes the element and it gives us the index value of it. So now I say 3. Let's check right now. Yeah. So the index value of 3 is 2, right? 0, 1, 2. The index value of 3 is 2. That's why we got the output as 2 over here. Next, what do we have? Insert is done, pop is done, remove is done. List reverse. We'll see what list reverse does. We'll try it for L1 itself. Reverse. So list reverse doesn't take any parameters. Let's see what it will do. Says none. 1 minute. Let's get the help. We'll see what it says. Help L dot reverse. Yeah, this method is actually correct. Just try to run it again. Saying run. Okay, I'll get back to that afterwards. Let's see that afterwards. Okay. The last one is sort. For sort, I'll be using. Let's choose this one. Okay, I'll just change it over here. I'll change the values as 100, 35, 5, 40, 40, 40. Okay, so they're not sorted, right? Just concentrate in this list. So insert the nested list. Just concentrate on this list. To access that list, what should we do? Have to type nested list, and then the index value for that is 0. So for that we can use sort. Why is it coming on? 1 minute. Let's just start. Okay, we got access to this list. I'll run this list again. Okay, I'll get the help from it. Help dot sort. So it says sort the list in ascending order or return none. Okay, and return none. Okay, yeah. So what it does is just sorts the list in ascending order and returns none, right? So now if I print this list again, yeah, now it's sorted, right? So what it does is it doesn't print this. It's not used to printing. Okay, it's my mistake. So what nested list does is it just sorts the value and keeps it like that, and then we have to use the print function again to print it. See, as you can see, we got it over here. If we use print for it, we'll get none. Now we got it sorted, and I guess it's the same case for reverse also. Yeah, if I do the reverse of this, 40, 5, 35, 10. That's true, right? So yeah, it's working. Okay, do you guys have any doubt until now? Do you guys have any doubts until now?
No, sir, nothing.
So now let's try. Let's see what extend does. So for extend, I'll just take two lists. Say n is equal to 2.5, 100, 3.7, 50. I'm just taking some random values, and I'll take n2 is equal to and I'll take some random value over here. Say 5.5, 75, 22. I will give a string over here. N2. Okay. Now say I want to add this whole list to n. I can do that by using extend. Okay, extend. What extend does is it extends the list n and adds the whatever the values are there in the second. So if I say print n dot extend I'll say n2 over here. Wait, this is also the same thing. Print it. Yeah, so now what happened? I'll just bring this before extending it. Before extending. And this is after extending. Oh, wait. Sorry. Yeah. So before extending, it just has the values of n, whatever you define it over here. And then after extending, it got all the values from n2 also. So extend will just combine two lists together. And extend will only work for two lists. It won't work for any other type of data. So we have completed list functions. Just go to this. So these are known as list operations. What does list operations do? The first one is length. If you want to find the length of a list, I'll take the list n over here. So for the length of list, I'll just print it. We have tried this yesterday, right? For strings, what happened? We'll just print the number of elements which are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 elements are there, so the length will be 4. What if it's a nested list? What if I have something like this? Say nested. Then what will happen? Will I have now what will be the index? I mean, what will be the length? Will it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6? What will it
Five,
count?
sir.
Let's see.
5.
Yeah, 5. Perfect. Great, guys. Okay, so that is our first list operation. Second list operation is adding of two lists. This is called concatenation. Okay. I'll just get back my second list. This is it, right? So now I'll say print. Here I'll print after adding. This is called concatenation of lists. That means it's the addition of two lists. So I'll say n plus n2. So what am I doing here? I'm adding two lists. If I add two lists, okay, comma, I forgot this comma. Yeah. So it's almost the same thing as extending. But for extending, what happens is, wait. Yeah. For extending, what happens is it will be stored as a variable inside the n. If I say this, if I have extend, then what will happen? It will be stored in the n value. Now, if I just say print n, we will get this result. But I'll now let's say I do something like this: n plus n2. And as I print n, nothing happens because I'm not storing it anywhere. I'm not storing it in the same variable. If I say extend, it will get saved in n. It will get saved in the variable n. So that is the difference between using operators and using the methods. Okay. The next method is multiplication. So what multiplication will be doing is it's the same way in strings, right? Whatever will happen in strings, it will happen here also. So I'll say n into 4. So what happened? The same values are repeated 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for multiplication, the values are getting repeated. As you can see again, similarly to list, we don't have division or subtraction over here. And then we have membership. Membership just tells us it's a Boolean function. It either gives true or false. It's like to check the value, to check if that value is there. Let's say 2.5 is present in n, and we'll just get the confirmation. So I'll say 2.5 in n. So what did you get? 2.5 is present in n, true. Now let's try for another value. Let's say 3.5. 3.5 is not present there, right? Now I'll check 3.5 in n. That will give me false because it's not there. Then the last function is for x in this. Okay, this is in loops. We'll discuss it when we get to loops. Then you'll be understanding it. Okay. So yeah, do you have any doubts about lists? This is all about lists. You guys have completed about lists right now. Perhaps. Now we'll start tuples. Our next topic is tuples. We have done all of this, right? We have completed all these functions. Next we have tuples. So first, what are tuples? Tuples are immutable Python objects. What is mutable? What is immutable? As I told you before in list, mutable means they can be edited. As you saw in list, we can delete an element inside a list. We can add an element inside list. We can modify an element inside list. These functions are not known as mutable functions. But in tuple, the story is not the same. We cannot edit anything in tuples. We can only define a tuple, and that will be permanent. And in tuples, we have to use parentheses while defining. And like lists, tuples can contain all type of data types. So yeah, in lists, even tuples can be present inside them. I'll just say how to define a tuple. So for defining a tuple, let's say tuple is equal to. For defining a tuple, you have to use parentheses. And then I can say 1, 2, 3, 4. We can access the data same as lists, but we cannot edit any data. For suppose I want to access 1 over here, or else I want to access the number 3. What is the index? It's the same. Tup. For accessing data in any type of data type, we use square brackets only for accessing data. So here I want to access number 3. What is the index number? 0, 1, 2. Yeah, 2. 2. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Just comment all this. Yeah, so accessing is same as lists. Hey, I'll just add some more elements over here. If you want, you can add directly when you're defining the element, but we cannot add after defining it. Like if you want to modify it, how we did in the list over here. There, I didn't keep that. Yeah. But suppose I'm using remove over here, right? I said remove this. We cannot be removing. We don't have any method to remove element inside a tuple, or we don't have any element method to modify something which is present in tuple. Okay, I'll just add some more elements over here. Even tuples can be having any type of data. So I'll just say string, and then I'll have a list over here. As I told,
So
list can be
you don't define in the square brackets.
what? Hang on.
Tuple you are not defining in square bracket, right?
Yeah, tuples are not defining in square brackets. Tuples, when you're defining different types of data, have different ways to define it. For list, we are defining it with square brackets. For strings, we are defining it with double quotes or single quotes. And for other elements, we have other brackets or things which we want to cover. So I'll just say this. So this will just convert this into a list. And then I'll say we have a function as tuple. It acts the same as a list, but instead of creating a list, it creates a tuple. And here I just say tuple. I'll just print. First 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I got a string. Then I got a list which says list, and then I have a tuple which has tuple. Okay, so whenever you want to find out which type of data it is, you can refer to the, what type of things are covering it, like in the starting and ending. If it's double quotes or single quotes, it's string. If it's square brackets, it's a list. If it's a tuple, then it has parentheses. And for other things like sets and dictionaries, we have curly brackets. Okay, so now let's say how as we did before, I want to access only, say in tuple, I want to access only this L. Can we do that? Now you guys might have known, right? Come on, I want the answer from you now. I want only this L. You guys have to know. I showed it before.
We can remove
6.
use.
It has to be
What?
6 and then 4.
Then 4, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay,
6
until
and
4
3.
is 3.
6 and 3.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6,
5.
7, 0, 1.
So 6 and then 4. 3. Sorry, 3.
Yeah, let's see 6. And then how? I should place a comma over here. Should place a comma over here.
No, continuous. Continuous. Another bracket. 3.
Should be
Yeah, let's check it.
Maybe comma.
Absolutely correct.
No.
Yeah, we got yeah, no, we don't need to place a comma over here.
Okay, no need.
It's like whenever we're representing some thing like in maths, if you say this, you say f of x, right? F of x. Whenever we're using brackets, it represents off. Like when you're using it over in like this function, it represents off. So, sixth element of tuple. Let's go from third element of sixth element of tuple. So the third element of the sixth element of this tuple. That's the order. Yeah. So now I got it out. Like from here, what happens if I place a comma over here and I say a different value? Say I have 2. What will happen? Will it give me an error or will it give me a two values? Let's
Error.
you got it. Must be integer or slices, not tuple. Okay. So we can slice it, right? We can slice it. Say from the integer value 2 to 6. So now what will I have? have all the elements from 2 to 6. So that means it will count the sixth element. It will not count the sixth element. It's not counting a sixth element. You have to remember this. It will not count the sixth element, the last element, whichever is there. In any type of range functions in Python, it will not count the last element, but it will count the first element. Speaking of range, there's a function called range. So in range, we can give a range of data that will say just print a range of data until 10. Convert this into tuple. You can do the same thing with lists also. Yeah. So as you can see, we got all the elements from 0 to 1. So you can create a tuple the range like this. If you want to have a range of numbers, then you can create a tuple like this instead of writing all the numbers. Yeah, this is a function. You can do this list. If I say list over here, it will create a list. You know the difference, right? If it's a tuple, then that means it has a parenthesis. If it's a list, that means it has a line. We have some examples, and I guess we already have gone through them. Tuple operations. Let's see. Yeah, and tuple operations are the same. They respond same as the list operations. But the thing is, just see. As I told you, operators doesn't change the values which are there inside the tuple, right? They just, if I say this, I'll create another tuple over here. Tuple2 is equal to. I'll just give some random floats. 5.2, 4.5, 6.7. So now if I get up, let's tuple2. Print it. So here will I get an error? I didn't get an error. The both tuples are being added. But I told the tuples are immutable, right? Then what is it? Then if you ask me, I'll just after adding the two tuples, I'll print the tuple again. I'll print the tuple. Then if you see, there's no change happening inside the first tuple. At that instance, it's just getting added. The values are getting added, then they're getting printed. But there's no change inside the original tuple. So they're immutable. As I told, the values cannot be changed inside. Say I'll use an option remove. I'll say tup dot remove. Let's try what happens. We have to give the element name. I'll give remove one, and I'll say print tup. This will give me error. It will say tuple object has no attribute as remove because we don't have we cannot remove anything from a tuple, right? So that is fine. We have the same thing length. Length will give us the length of the tuple. Because the length, that is 7 elements are there. That is correct. And then same, we have repetition and membership. We already saw that in list, right? I think we don't need to see it again. Next, what functions does tuple have? We can't do anything with it. Then what functions does it have? It has only the count function and index function. Well, yeah, right. these both functions doesn't do anything to the original tuple. They just give us values. So if I say count, I'll just add some more elements. Say 1 comma 1 comma 1. I added one these many times. Now I'll say count. Sorry. Tup dot count. Now we'll see what happened. We got 4. Is it correct? 3 times over here, 1 time over here. So 4. Yeah. And again we have the same thing. We can use index also over here. Index of 1 will give us 0. Whenever we use index, it will count from the starting only. It will count from the starting and go to the ending. And it just gives us only one value. It won't give us a number of values. Okay. It only gives us the first place where it is found. Now if I delete this, then what will be the output over here for index? I deleted 1 at the first place, then what will be the output? Let's see. It will go 6 because this 1 is placed at the index value 6. Yeah, that is pretty much about tuples. Okay, we have completed about lists and tuples, right? We actually don't have much time about sets and dictionaries. I'll be continuing this tomorrow, along with string formatting. I'll also be telling you about string formatting. And before ending the class, yesterday Sangram asked some doubt, right? I want to clear the doubt. Sangram, what was your doubt?
Yeah, like to print it in different row, I need to use double quote basically.
Just type it. I'm sorry, the voice is. I mean, you have disturbances. Know about the build-up approach, right? I tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so say I have a string saying s is equal to want you triple quote. So what triple double quotes does is it allows us to use enter values. Like we can use number of lines. So over here I can use number of lines. As you can see over here, we got a line over here that represents that this string is ending over here. Okay, then I can print anything over here. And here Python is generally a language based on indentations. If there is any error using the indentations, you'll get an error. But whenever we use triple double quotes, it doesn't follow the indentations also inside the string. See, I have given this much space, and now I can print this is with some indent. Okay, I'll just take out some indent and I'll say this is another line. Now I'll just print the line, print s over here. See, I have some space over here. That's why I'm getting error. I shouldn't have that space, or else this will give me error. See, I got the raw values over here, however it is. So that is a use of triple double quotes. It's like it gives us the raw value of it. If you want to get a new line by using only double quotes, then we have a way for that also.
One second, Bhavan. Where was the space which gave you?
What's that?
Where was the space which gave you error?
Okay, I'll just show you. See over here, there's a space bar over here. Before the print, I gave a space accidentally.
Okay.
That yeah.
Okay.
So that Python doesn't allow any indentation errors. Python is purely based on indentations. Other languages like C, they don't care about indents. You'll get to know why indent is important in the next classes. Yeah, and I'll show you how to use
Okay.
single quotes or double quotes getting new line. Okay, I'll just okay, to get a new line, we have a special literal. It's called string literal. Just keep a backslash and n. Backslash and n. And transfer new line. Okay. So now if I print this, sorry, again there's print. Yeah, we got the output over here, right? See, there's a tab over here that won't be counted because it's a string. And here I gave slash n, so the output came as in a new line. The output came in a new line over here.
So without intent, then it will not require this slash n.
I'm sorry, Sangam, your voice has it's not clear at all.
So
Okay, without indent. Yeah, this indent is placed inside the string, right? It doesn't care about the indent when it's inside the string. Inside the string. Don't require slash n. We don't require slash n when we're using triple. When you're using triple quotes, we don't require slash n. If I give an enter over here, it gives me an error. Okay, it will give me an error. If you want separate lines, we have to use slash n when we're using single quotes. When we're using single quotes, we have to slash n for new line. Okay, and we don't need to give any space for after the slash n. Do you understand?
okay.
Yeah. Like this type of point is known as a literal. Okay, slash n is a literal. And I think so. We have discussed another type of literal. Right? Say I have let over here. I have let give me an error. But if you want to ignore this, I can place a backslash over there. That will ignore that as a like it will ignore that as a placeholder of a string. It print the apostrophe over there. Count it as the apostrophe for ending a string. And you might have a question like backslash is generally used to ignore the letter after it, right? And if you want to print a back, you have to use double backslash. Double backslash, you will put backslash over there. These are yeah, that's it. About any more doubts? Yeah, some. Multiply an into and a float. We can multiply, right? Say into 1.5. I got 3.5. You're not getting it. Okay. Yeah, I guess you're taking it as an input, right? Yeah, I thought that you'll have this out. So when you're taking an input, I told you at that time, take a as an input. equal to input enter height. Okay. Now I'll just print the type of A. Print the type of A. I'll give 4. Only print the type of it. Sorry. Type of. Then yeah, it's taking it as a string. Now, if you want to convert a string into an integer, if you want to convert a string into an integer, you can just int over it. Int means that will convert that into a integer. Or else you can do it in a separate line. You can say A is equal to int of. I think if you want to do it in one line, you can do it like over here, or you can take it in 2 lines. Now, if I say this, you can see. I'll give 4 over here. Now got as int, right? So it's working. Fine. Any more doubts, guys? Okay, then we'll be ending the session. Thank you, guys.